Okay, let's talk about this. Okay, I want to talk about something that has been making the rounds on the internet, and it has to do with AI, with artificial intelligence. I know that this is not the usual topic that I talk about. I usually talk about people's conflict, but right now there's a conflict with artificial intelligence and art. You remember that like 2 years ago, we'll say that 2 years ago, it actually started in 2023. I began talking about AI. I began using Midjourney. I still call myself the Baron of Midjourney, even if I don't use Midjourney a long time ago. Midjourney is an app used to generate artificial intelligence images. I use it a lot to generate memes of Harry and Meghan. In fact, I could use it. I could use what is called, for example, Nano Banana Pro, which is from Google, to generate Harry and Meghan memes. As time goes by, I felt that there was like a problem with this. And the problem was, especially, and I said that in one video here, I saw that's as a problem. I said that there's a problem with artificial intelligence, and I invited, quote unquote, Meghan for that. I made a video of Meghan with Grok Imagine, which is another tool to make videos out of photos, in which I was worried about making videos that are not outrageously, let's say, crazy, but are just that can pass as real. And I remember that I made a video of Meghan, very simple video of Meghan just handling. I think it was a tennis racket. That was it. Meghan just holding a tennis racket. It was very simple, something that could happen in real life, but the video was fake. So this is something that I don't like myself, because that has already happened to me. I fell for it a couple times, making a commentary on things online that turns out to be AI, and I don't like that. And at some point I said, okay, this is great. I will be able to make films, be a filmmaker thanks to AI. And I began to do all the experimentation possible. And I realized, no, this is not possible. In fact, in my Scene Surgeon channel, most probably I'm going to post this one on my Scene Surgeon channel, I said that there's not going to be any AI filmmaking because of a problem of granularity. Maybe you are into films, maybe you like movies, maybe you don't like AI. I have a video about that you could watch. Maybe I can show you my Scene Surgeon channel right now briefly, so you can see, just in case, just so you're aware that okay, yeah, this is a video that I made. This is my Scene Surgeon channel. I made this video. AI filmmaking is dead on arrival. Why AI filmmaking is not going to happen? It doesn't have that many views, but I know that the people who have watched that have already understand the problem with this. And we also have the added problem, that so many of you know that I'm an artist, a traditional artist, both a digital but originally a traditional artist. I've been drawing since 2nd grade in school. Literally when I was 7 years old, I started drawing and I never stopped. I haven't drawn in a while. I love drawing. It's something that I just love. I love illustration. I love color pencils. I love airbrushing. And then my artistic life turned to digital with 3D, modeling, animation, everything, the whole thing, and visual stuff for movies. I wanted to work in the industry. I finally didn't go through that branch of my life. I could retake that at any moment, because my passion for filmmaking is there. I love films. I love movies. I love everything. And maybe I will be analyzing more movie scenes from a body language perspective, which what I did basically on that channel as well. And I see these AI bros playing with their AI apps, and I see there's nothing wrong with that. They are happy generating images, generating AI art. Okay, we can call it artificial intelligence art because the result is undoubtedly artistic. It is digital. It is created by our artificial intelligence, but it's art. But at some point, I began to refuse to call it art because you're just rolling a dice. Just rolling the dice to see that what comes out, what the machine decides is going to come out. You don't have actual control. There's no greater control than this. There's no greater control than this. Learning to draw. It has been one of the greatest passions of my life. Again, I think that I use Photoshop. I think I use Photoshop for more than a quarter of a century of my life, more than 25 years of my life. I use Photoshop. I use painting, modeling, etc. It is not the same. And again, I have nothing against people using AI. I have an issue with AI stealing from artists because what AI only does is rehash the art that humans have made and regurgitate a version of people that just type in something that they want. They type, oh, I want this such and such and such. Look at how detailed is the prompt. But what the AI is putting out is just rehashing the work of humans. So how is that not stealing? And at some point, I noticed that this AI bros began treating AI art as in it was real art. And no, that is not real art. And I have to say something that I tweeted this morning, and I think that AI artists saying that they are real artists is exactly the same as trans women saying that they're women when they're not. You can play with your prompts all that you want. You can play with your hormones all that you want, but you will never be the real deal. It's exactly the same. And they demand to be recognized as actual artists. And that's what was part of the thing that I was talking about this. Epic boss Tim Sweeney. Tim Sweeney is a legend in video game making. Stores like Steam should stop labeling games as being made with AI. You know that now the scandal is that these video game stores have all these games, and some of the games have a label to make sure people know that they were made with AI or AI was used in the making of the game. And I can understand that in some ways you can streamline the process, but as long as you don't call it art. It's that simple. That's all that I'm asking. I don't have a problem with people using the tools that they need, because people have good ideas in making video games, for example, and people can have good ideas in making films. But don't try to be a hypocrite saying that, oh, you are an artist because you're using AI. No, wait a second. That is simply not being an artist, because it's not the same, especially when AI is just rehashing the work of other humans. So the moment that you use AI, for example, in your video game, you're making a video game and you're using AI to create or generate content of your video game, what AI is doing essentially rehashing work of humans so you can profit from that. Gray area. Very gray area. I wouldn't exactly judge you as long as you keep that made with AI, which clarifies that no, you did not do it that yourself as a human. You didn't actually make yourself. Maybe the coding, maybe okay, the AI was used to code part of the video game. Okay, that can help. That's more. That is. I think that is possible. Maybe I'm not a coder. I'm an artist, so I take offense from the art thing, but maybe not in the coding thing. Does that make me a hypocrite? I really don't know. These are strange times. I really don't know. This is like a philosophical question. But I think that people have the right to know if the thing that they're going to consume has taken jobs away from artists. And I, as a lifelong artist, and I have not, art for me is not a hobby. This is not something that so many of you know. I am Jesus Enrique Rosas. I am an artist. That's the word that most perfectly defines me in so many instances, in music, in painting, in writing, in sculpting. I would want at some point to have time to take sculpting. I could say that I was a sculptor in digital media. But no, that ain't it. And yes, I take offense. And no, as trans women are not women, you can pretend and you can play your drag stuff and whatever you want. Okay, fine by me, as long as you don't involve children in that thing. And you can play with your prompts and you can play with your AI and you can play with that. But don't pretend that you are doing art, because you are not. But again, that was my rant. I wanted to, again, this is the kind of rants that I like to share with you. This is the kind of rants that maybe I want to leave for the end of my live streams that might be longer than 1 hour, if you have found out today. It's an anti-human agenda, says Mr. Weskers. Yes, it's again, it's something that I can't imagine. There's a lot of trouble right now because people are finding out in video games, in animated series, in movies, so many stuff that generated with AI, badly generated with AI, badly generated, which is even worse. I mean, I can talk about this. This is the kind of the stuff that I can say I was wrong 2 years ago. I didn't see, I didn't have the foresight to see that this was going to happen this way. And I see that happening, and I already agree this cannot be stopped, but this has to be regulated in some way. I have spoken about AI music. AI music, something that is just out of this world. And it has been also regulated, and Warner is in this lawsuit, was in this lawsuit with Suno, which is the basically the ChatGPT of AI music, in which they're gonna get to this arrangement in which if artists agree to have their music used for training this stuff, then they will be okay with that. But I already see the music industry being absolutely tits up with all this. And again, that's another thing. When we talk about music, I could be talking about here like another hour, because I love music. I don't know what I love more. Movies, drawing, music. Again, I'm an artist. And all these manifestations is something that I find just blissful. When you finally get something right, when you finally get a drawing right, when you see something that I made this, I created this. And this is the philosophical part. And my last statement for today. We are creators. We are made in the image of our Lord, of God Some of us call him God, other have other names for it. I really don't judge, but we were created in some way. And God created us, and we are created in his image, so we are creators as well. So our nature, our most fundamental nature, is that we are creators. Because you could say that we create families, of course, we create societies, we create civilization, but at the core, creation and art is something that goes hand in hand. The creation of music, the creation of films, the creation of stories, the creation of novels, of drawings, of things that inspire you, that take your breath away when you listen to them. That's something that is so inherently human that pretending that by typing something that you want and getting a rehash of what humans have made with the pain, with the decades of trial and error, with practice, with blood, with it's like that song from Charles Aznavour, La Boheme. Not eating every other day, just dedicated to your craft. I've been there, forgetting to feed myself just because I needed to finish a piece. I don't know. I'm so passionate about art. I just couldn't deal with that. I mean, again, there's a lot of potential with AI. But I think people are focusing on the wrong stuff regarding this. There's a lot of stuff that can be automated. There's a lot of stuff that we can make our life easier as long as we regulate everything. But the creation, which is basically the essence of being human, that is wrong. That is just plain wrong.